All right, this will be an interesting one.
Sure. Yeah.
What do you call yourself, Raj?
What do you mean?
In terms of the fetish community, what do you refer to your fetish as?
I mean, the scientific name is eproctophilia, but fart fetish.
A fart fetish.
Mm-hmm.
And you are into what and related to this? Receiving, giving?
No.
I know nothing. Help me. I know
Sure.
I know nothing about it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it depends on who you are, but me personally, I'm into receiving. And it's generally, or I would say always in my case, tied with like domination. Like they're inseparable for me. So being dominated kind of in a like cruel or I don't know, disregarded way, I suppose, is how I kind of look at it.
So you like being farted on?
That's right.
And what does that look like?
I mean, it takes many forms, I guess. I mean, I enjoy the face-sitting aspect, so like the closeness of that, which can be clothed, nude. I don't really have a specific preference. Mm-hmm. Some people do. That's kind of the long and short of it, I guess.
Do you have to pay people to do this for you, or do you have girlfriends or maybe guy friends? I don't know.
Sure. I mean, I'm straight, so girlfriends in my case. But I would say generally, people would pay for it. I think it's a little more accessible on the homosexual side or gay farting. So yeah, I mean, I've definitely paid for it a fair amount through like pro-dom sessions. But I have connected with a girlfriend, a mistress, who has engaged or indulged me as well. So.
And are there certain people who have a proclivity to having more gas than others?
Probably.
This job gets crazy sometimes.
No, for sure. I mean, that's hard to say for certain. I would say based on like people I've talked to, yes. But it really just depends. And I think some people talk about like, certain diets, or there's there's sugar-free candy, which can be fairly gas-inducing. There's all kinds of nuance.
What kind of foods or what kind of meals would you have your date eat beforehand?
I mean, to be honest, I haven't thought about it that much. I guess for me, as dumb as it might sound, I mean, I kind of prefer, at least in fantasy, the more potent smells. So I guess, things that created gas that was smelly or really tied into the more torturous aspects of enjoying this.
Where did this come from for you?
That's a mystery, and I think it is for a lot of people who have it.
You've run across others who have this?
I have. I actually host a podcast. I don't know if I'll continue, but for 4 years I hosted a podcast just called the Fart Fetish Podcast to kind of help normalize it, especially within the kink community. Sorry, but what was your original question?
Where did it
originate?
Yeah.
For me, it's just speculation. I've had it for as I was probably single digits as a child. So my best estimation is, for me, it came from a combination of kind of having my parents be a little bit free around the bathroom. So we're talking about using the bathroom with the door open, not being so shy about farting, around the house or in the car or whatever.
Yeah, some people are very relaxed about that, and other people are much more discreet.
Oh, absolutely. And especially in people I've talked to, there's people who have, I think, probably got the fetish because it was so taboo in their household.
Oh, I see.
That they kind of like took it as a way to...
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. And then I think the other side, the domination side, again, both speculation, but I think came from my parents being a bit, to be blunt, neglectful, emotionally, like financially fine and all that. But my parents weren't, per se great parents or great at being affirming, I guess. So I think a combination of the free, bathroom use and the kind of trying to spin a new narrative around, parents being not the most engaged, I think turned this into like fart fetish with this domination aspect as a way to I don't know, psychologically heal. And the only reason I say that is because in listening to other people's stories, which are very much not like mine, it just seems like those pieces kind of come together. You have an experience in childhood and you're trying to figure out a way to, make it better or make it like reframe the story around it.
That's interesting. What do you recall instances in your childhood where your mother or father was particularly flatulent and it turned
No.
piqued your interest or anything like that?
No, I wouldn't say it occurred anything that like directly. Like it certainly wasn't like me ever being turned on by my mom or dad per se.
Crazy conversation, right?
No, I get it. I get it. Yeah, I mean, it wasn't definitely, I think, a direct connection, but it certainly, I think, fueled my desire for like authority figures, teachers, bosses, even in some cases, mother domination or what have you. But when I say that, it's not like my mother. It's just the aura of a mother figure.
Yeah, somebody who's in a power position or in a
right, and I
parental.
think. Absolutely. And I think that is what kind of really feeds into that element of being out of control because, with your parents, you're kind of stuck with them. If, I don't want to get to like, I don't want to diminish people's experience, but like if you have an abusive parent, there's not a lot of avenues for you to heal yourself. I mean, there's, police and what have you, but that's kind of a larger ask in this world where, like if your parents are mistreating you, basically to say is you're kind of trapped. You're stuck in that situation. And I think a lot of that is what I think about and fantasize in these, now my adult fantasies is like this aspect of being completely out of control, completely unable to get help, as it were, for this mistreatment.
When you engage in this fetish, this is an erotic thing for you? It turns you on sexually?
It does, yeah. Specifically like the domination and fart fetish, but yes. Yeah, it does.
And so you'll have a woman come over. How do you initiate some kind of interaction?
Well, I guess it depends on who it is or how it's with. I mean, with pro-dom, it's pretty much the standard kink practice.
Here's what I like.
I'm sorry?
Where you tell her.
Exactly. You tell her what you want. Maybe even you email first and be like, oh, I want this, and kind of go in this direction or this kind of theming, being more dominant, be indifferent to suffering or what have you. It's never, I've found in my experience, I am probably more turned on by fantasies because I've written stories for it's probably 2 decades now or almost 2 decades. So that's where I find I guess having that control and having like full control of all the options in like a story or creating like small captions or what have you, I find that a lot more arousing than my actual in-person sessions for whatever reason. Yeah, I think it's just it's hard to have someone really nail down exactly what you want when it's so specific. When it's like, I want you to it's not about like how they fart or whatever, although that certainly helps, being louder and more boisterous and being smelly or what have you. I think for me, maybe other people don't have this, but it's hard to be like, okay, can you like also be smelly? And can you also like getting into the specifics when you're like paying someone for a service? Yeah, it makes sense because you're paying them. They should like accommodate, but at the same time, it's a little more personal than like, can I buy this apple or whatever?
Right.
Like,
have you had partners that were particularly enjoyable for you?
I would say the last pro-dom session I did was particularly enjoyable. It was actually 2 dominants, but the main dominant in that case, the pro-dom, was I guess had done this in her real life, like with boyfriends or whatever, and just kind of knew the kind of vibe I was going for, because the fantasy for me is not enjoying it. Like, obviously I enjoy it because it is turning me on, but the fantasy is to be, as I mentioned, like tormentous or being tortured. So I think that's kind of hard to pull off. I think in a real setting, and why I gravitate more towards stories, because I think the people are hesitant to want to like lean into that fully and lean into that in a way that's believable.
And you're so open about this. Do you find yourself defending this sometimes with people, friends, whatever?
No, not really. I mean, like
You're not hurting anybody, I guess. Right?
For sure. And I mean, I've talked to enough people at this point. I've been in the kink community and told people about the fart fetish in that community, even if they weren't fetishists themselves, that I've kind of, I don't know, I guess it would be come to terms with the way people are. Like, I fully understand that most people don't like fart fetish, don't have it in. A lot of people don't even know it exists. I think people know about like piss fetish and they know about scat fetish, but we're kind of like in the middle of those two, and it's not as well exposed. I think my mission with the podcast was to try to achieve some of what has happened with like foot fetish, where it's kind of like a little more normalized. People know about Quentin Tarantino, people know about this. And even I'd say piss fetish, like there was that scene that opened that TV show Billions with Paul Giamatti getting pissed on. So I think that's what I was trying to do with the podcast, is like, let me try to normalize this or get this in the world in a way that people respect as much as you can respect it. Like I'm self-aware in terms of like, I get it's silly. Some fetishists even lean into the comedic aspect or the farts are funny aspect. That's not me per se. I don't particularly find that funny, but I don't like hate on anyone that does engage in that.
And you like a particularly strong scent. You also like is the sound part of it?
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, the strong scent is definitely like what I most reach for. I think it's also the hardest to obtain, depending on the situation. Because I think, for one, I mean, like pro-doms are, they, what do you call it? They like sanitize, I guess, themselves before a session. So it's a little less, I guess you could say, natural than, some of the indulgences with my girlfriend, my mistress, has been a little more natural. She's not, it's the end of the day and she hasn't, she showered at the beginning of the day or what have you. I think that is one aspect I like, even if it's harder to obtain. And yeah, I would say the sound is also a factor for me, just because, I don't know. I would say, I guess the sound is illustrative of how dominating it is, how much I'm going to keep using the word torture, but how torturous it is.
And how often will you engage in this?
Well, I mean, it really just depends. I mean, as far as my partner goes, I pretty much just engage with it when she does it. I don't particularly ask for it.
Do you enjoy sex without this?
I actually find myself to be at least semi-asexual, or at least in that vein. I don't really have a strong enjoyment or strong proclivity towards penetrative sex. It's not really something I do or enjoy on a regular basis. I kind of see it a bit performative for myself anyways, that, yeah, it doesn't really have a strong, I don't know, the only word I can think of is enjoyment for me. Mm-hmm. I don't gravitate in that direction. I've done it a few times over my life. I'm like 39 now. So it's something I've experienced, but haven't been like, oh my God, I gotta have sex, And I know that's a bit maybe odd for males especially. I mean, that seems to be the generally the main attraction is sex. That's where everyone's trying to aim for or go for. Yeah, exactly. And yeah, for me, it's always been what turns me on, what excites me is the fetish, is the domination aspects.
Do you find your fetish is changing over the years, or is it just what it is and that's it?
I mean, it's definitely probably changed in terms of figures I fantasize about. Like, I think when I was younger, it was like, oh, being farted on by like fellow college girls or whatever. Not nobody I know, but like that age group. And I think now that I'm older, it's gone to more older authority figures, bosses, teachers, that kind of idea. As far as the fetish itself, though, it's always been more or less the same in terms of being dominated, being farted on the face. Like, I've always kind of viewed it in that direction.
So interesting. The likelihood that you're going to meet somebody just in your normal life and get the relationship to end up here is very slim, right?
Absolutely. I would actually say definitely. I think a lot of people, when you're in the fart fetish, and judging by people I've talked to and reading posts on Reddit and what have you, I think there's a misconception that like sniffing someone's farts or engaging in that kind of activity is a sexual or kinky service. Like, that's providing a dominant as something they want. Whereas, I mean, I've been in the community, I think, long enough to realize it's like what female dominants, what femdoms want is generally like people to do domestic service and clean around my house and sexual service as well, in some cases. And I think there is people who are in the fart fetish have this misconception that, what they do is desired or will be desired by other people. And I'm not saying those people don't exist. I've talked to one female fart fetishist who does very much enjoy the kind of aspect of having their partner sniff it and enjoy it and what have you. But I think that's rare. I do think it's pretty rare that you're going to find it, even in the kinky community. Like, as I said, I mentioned this kink to people in the local kink community, and people kind of like, they're not disrespectful, because most people in kink community, if not everyone, is very much they're very much like, they know not to yuck someone's yum, as is the saying. But yeah, I think as far as someone who's going to understand it, going to even know about it, and going to even more rare, want it in their life,
be turned on by it.
Exactly, I think is very slim, very rare. I think the best way forward, the best advice I've given people or shared with people is build a relationship first. Build a unimpeachable relationship. This person loves you, loves everything about you. This relationship seems like it's going in the right direction.
Because of the nature of relationships, when you're living with somebody for 10 years, 5 years, you eventually come into situations where this happens.
Absolutely. Well, and if that's the way you enjoy it, true. If you enjoy something more specific, you may need to tell them about it.
Well, I mean, I was just thinking as you were speaking that going on a fetish community like website or whatever and finding connections that way is certainly probably the most effective way. But doing a talk on my channel where you're reaching a totally different audience, your likelihood is actually pretty great of finding some twisted girl in Topeka, Kansas who thinks this is her shit too. Absolutely.
I will say I do think that is part of the downside of living in Los Angeles is I think a lot of people, myself included, are very focused on their ego. And so I think it is somewhat harder to find people who will indulge in these more quirky fetishes here because they are worried, like, oh, what if someone finds out? Oh, I'm an actor. What if someone like does this or does that? Like me, I've even shot fart fetish pornography with a former partner of mine, and it's got my face in it. It's on clips for sale. I don't really worry about those things. As an actor myself, or someone who did pursue that for a time, I took everything as like, oh, this could help me raise my profile. This could be what gets me out into the world. I don't think it ever worked, but that was kind of the thought process.
Does the physical attractiveness of your partner play a role in any of this?
Certainly, I would say absolutely. I mean, I don't know.
Do you like a heavy-set girl who likes to eat, or do you like a more slender?
I mean, I probably gravitate more towards heavier women or BBW or whatever term you want to use in that sense. I think there is a limit to that based on my preferences as well.
I'm sorry, I'm so square. BBW is
big beautiful women.
Big beautiful women.
Yeah.
Got it.
So it's just another way to avoid saying fat. It seems offensive to use that word, even though it is, I guess, the correct term. So yeah, I mean, I guess I enjoy more average to heavier women. I think it really depends, but I would say I think for everyone, the attraction is always a matter. It's not going to be like you just want farts from any old one or any old person. There is definitely an attraction that matters.
It's mind-bending to think about this.
No, for sure.
I have never even heard of this.
Yeah, absolutely. That is
some of your profile and said, "Oh yeah, this would be interesting."
Yeah, I'm glad. Yeah, I'm always happy to discuss it and talk about it. I
love that you're so open about it, because I remember, this reminds me of another interview I did with a black gentleman who was really into having sex with transgender women, and he talked about it like how he really likes grilled cheese sandwiches.
Sure.
And he just made it as natural and simple and like no shame at all. And by the end of the talk, it was like, he's not hurting anybody. He's not doing anything wrong. It's like, it seemed like totally normal.
Yeah, for sure.
Whereas most people would be horrified that this information got out. But I think by talking about it like this, it just makes it so it's like no big deal.
That's the aim for me. Like I've whether it was the podcast or whatever I did, I was always trying to just normalize it and make people aware of it, at least in the kink community. Like I understand that people who just enjoy intercourse and don't really think about kinks or being tied up in the bedroom or anything like that, they're not going to care about this. They don't need to think about it or worry about it. They probably don't want to know about it in some cases. But yeah, I think for the kink community, it is important to, expose it, get people knowledgeable about it. I think part of it too is there's so few fart fetishists in the public kink community that have come out, as it were, and talk to people in the kink community, that I think that's the next big step for fart fetishists, is to feel more wherever they are, whether it's Los Angeles or wherever they are in the world or the States, is to go into their local kink communities if they're lucky enough to have them, and talk to people and tell people that, hey, I'm not a weirdo, I'm not a pervert. I like this weird thing. You like your weird things, and we're all, like you say, nobody's hurting anyone. So, what's the harm?
All right, Raj, thank you so much for sharing your thoughts and interests with us.
No, it's my pleasure.
I really appreciate your honesty, and I hope you find lots of wonderful, interesting partners.
Thanks very much. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Have fun.
Thanks.
When I was designing the first Soft White Underbelly book, I realized that there were so many great portraits that weren't going to make it into that book. They just wouldn't fit. And once I saw how well that first book sold, I knew I'd have to design a second book. This second book is finally ready to ship. Like the first one, this book has a collection of some of the best portraits from Soft White Underbelly, accompanied by a quote from that person's interview. This book features another group of Rebecca portraits, as well as a collection of color images of the Whitaker family, and plenty of others. You can order yours for $125 or $150 for a signed copy at softwhiteunderbelly.org. Again, like the first book, once this book is sold out, I will not be printing more of them. The portraits are what Soft White Underbelly is all about, and these two books contain the best of all that work. Thank you for watching.